So hello everyone, welcome to the Kickstart 2024 Grow Your Business event here at Idea Square One. This event is held in partnership with Idea Square One and BNI Gateway, a professional networking organization that specializes in B2B relationship marketing. Before I go ahead and invite Steve to talk more about BNI, I'm going to do the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the lands which constitute the present-day city of Mississauga as being part of the treaty lands and the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Seneca, the Atavandaran, and the wider Haudenosaunee Confederacy and the Huron-Wendat First Nation. We recognize these peoples, the Anishinaabe, the Ojibwe, the Chippewa nations within the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat, and all other peoples who inhabited these lands since time immemorial. The city of Mississauga is home to First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. As a municipality, the city of Mississauga is actually working towards reconciliation by continuing to strengthen our relationship with Indigenous communities. We formally recognize the Anishinaabe origins of our name and continue to make Mississauga a safe space for all Indigenous peoples. Thank you. So with that, I would love for Steve to come over and say a few words about BNI.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name's Steve Maynard, and I'm here today to tell you a little bit about our chapter, BNI Gateway. I'm a small business owner, and as a small business owner, I've done this startup thing a few times, and I'm sure you're all actually familiar with that. But I'm not here to talk about my business. What I'm here to talk about is networking, and that's why we're here today, is because a few months back, probably back in the fall, Idea Mississauga visited our chapter, our networking chapter. And immediately we saw a connection between the two groups, and they invited us to speak at this event here today. So Idea Mississauga is a fantastic group and a business incubator and getting everyone going. We're a group that actually allows you to grow your business, and that's what our goal is. The philosophy of BNI is givers gain. And simply, if I give business to the member of my chapters, they give business to me. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to have a few of our members speak about a couple different topics. And if you have more questions about networking and growing your business, you can speak to any of the people. We're kind of wearing these BNI badges. It tags us a little bit, but we'd like to tell you a little bit more. And to be honest, just straightforward, our goal is we'd like some people to come out and visit our chapter. We meet every Thursday morning, and you can either come to a virtual session or an in-person session. And the idea there is we're not really looking for people to join. We're looking for people to network with. And if it makes sense for people, then they naturally join. It's a big way I do my business, but I'm obviously a firm believer in it, but we just like to spread the word and give you a little bit more information about our chapter at some point. So with that, I will turn it back over. Thank you for a few minutes here, and look forward to having our featured speakers speak today.
Thank you so much. Before I proceed, we're all standing. Do you want to grab a seat just to make sure you're okay? And before we begin, I also want to mention that the event is being recorded, this event today. With that, I also want to say a few words about Idea Square One. So Idea Square One, and thank you, Steve, for that, is part of the Idea Mississauga Innovation District. We are a one-stop shop for providing business advisory, business consultation, connections, networks, and resources to all kinds of businesses, small business, retail, e-commerce, startups, corporates as well, because we are part of the larger economic development team of the city of Mississauga. So with that, and without much ado, I want to invite our panelists today to the stage. First, I would like to call Julie Alleyn. Julie, please. Thank you. Next, Deep Das. And then last but not the least, Manu Shandal. And before we go ahead, and the mic here, I would like each one of you to briefly introduce yourself so that everyone is aware what you do and what exciting things they can look forward to. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for visiting today. My name is Deep Das, and I'm a mortgage broker. I offer commercial and residential financing, not only in Canada, but across other parts of United States as well. I'm here today to talk about how we can help you grow your business in the year 24. So we will discuss more about it. So looking forward to talking to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Julie Alleyn. I'm the founder of PEGASUS Evolution. We offer fractional HR services to small and medium-sized businesses that don't have an HR person on their team. And tonight, I just want to help other business see the potential that by networking, it really is a great way to grow your business and become the business that you foresee in the future. And hopefully 2024 will be a great year for you.
Hi, guys. My name is Manu. I'm a CPA, and the way how someone described me, and I loved it, they said, Manu, you don't count beans, you grow them. So that's how I like to think of myself. But really, instead of introducing myself, please meet my colleagues from BNI. They're just fantastic people, fantastic entrepreneurs, very knowledgeable. So please do go out and shake their hands and say hi.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much for your introductions. With that, I want to get into the event today. And I was really impressed with all of your experiences. And Manu, I don't want to say what is there in the description, but I really liked the background and how you define yourself as a business owner and what your experience is. With that, and what really piqued my interest was your financial planning expertise, the work that you have done in that space, and also corporate restructuring. So my question to you is, what do you think are some of the key financial strategies that here business owners should be looking forward to in 2024? Just a disclaimer there, today, correct me if I'm wrong, the Bank of Canada did not change the interest rates. I'm making sure I'm saying the right words, okay? Okay, I don't know whether it's good news or bad news, but I just put in there. So and I'll come back to you, Deep, on that, but I just want to understand, what key financial strategies do you believe that are crucial for businesses looking for growth in 2024?
So if I understood the question, you mentioned financial planning and corporate restructuring. So that's two questions. So I'll break them down one at a time. So I work with the rule of four. My previous life in the corporate world, a boss once said to me, if you work with fours and you mess up on one of them, a house can stand on three legs, but if you work with three and a leg falls, the whole house falls. So if we take financial planning as entrepreneurs, the four rules to abide by that I abide by, I tell my clients to abide by, is always look at your personal finances and your corporate finances as one unit. Don't look at them as two separate entities. Number two, a lot of us graduate from school, we get on, and we fall into entrepreneurship. We get on this wheel like a hamster and we're just running. And we never take time to get off of this wheel and think, where are we? Where do we want to be? What's the end game? We just get lost in the whole rat race. So that's number two. Number three, eventually we're all going to retire. A lot of entrepreneurs say to me, Manu, I'm just going to do this rest of my life. I go, no, it's not going to happen. I'll bet you whatever you want on it. At some point, we have to stop. We have to let go of the business. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't prepare for that day. So that's number three. And number four, as you are preparing for that day, when you do retire, are you doing it in the most tax efficient way? Are you putting your money in the right buckets that's right for you and your family situation in order to save money? Now, if we come to corporate restructuring, the four rules for that is, how do I word this? Number one, always I'm trying to word this properly so it makes sense to all of you. When you have money in your corporation, eventually the funds will outgrow how much you need in order to survive, and the funds will start to accumulate. Do you have a strategy in place to pull out the money in a tax efficient way? Number one. Number two, when you sell your business, there's actually a capital gains exemption rule, which saves you $1 million, which translates into $250,000 in tax savings. In order to take advantage of these tax savings, you have to start at least 3 years in advance to prepare for the sale of your business. Most entrepreneurs don't do that. Are you doing that? Number three, there's a thing called grinders, minders, and finders. Do you guys know what that is? No? So a grinder is the person who does the work. The minder is the person who manages the work and manages the company. And finder is the person who goes out there and gets the work. You as entrepreneurs should be finders. You should be out there networking, joining BNI, getting to know people, and bringing in the work. And what you need are the right people in proper seats doing the work and managing the work. If you're trying to do all three, you're not going to succeed. Number four, in corporate restructuring, so when I was doing my CPA back in 99, 2000, my textbook said you should restructure your company every 10 years. When I got into the real world, my books are really outdated, and all the Fortune 500s are doing it every 5 years. Then the 2007 financial crisis hit, and from there it went to 2 years. And now the tech companies are actually restructuring every 6 to 9 months. But for a small entrepreneur, you don't have to restructure every 6 to 9 months, but every 2 years, sit down with your CPA if, and it's a big if you trust them and you believe they have the right interest in their heart, sit with them and say, how can we set up this business for success, looking at what's going on in the market? It's a long answer, but it was a loaded question. Sorry.
No, but I loved it because you touched about those two places. And I think one thing I want to add is you talked about saving taxes. And I think as a business owner, that's a key thing. It's underrated because people don't realize that. But I think it needs to be mentioned out loud, discussed out loud, so that people understand the implications. So thank you for pointing that out. So Julie, I'm going to skip, but I'll come back to you. But Deep, I said BOC. You know, it's a natural segue into you. But what I want to understand is you have helped clients and businesses in the mortgage and financial needs. Now, can you share an instance where you were able to help a business owner with what you do, you know, in the mortgage, but also from a real estate point of view, such that the business was either able to launch, grow, or scale their business? You might have so many of them. So pick one from the cloud for us today.
Thank you for this question. I think what I can think today is a client of mine a few years back who lived in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, and they were Canadian citizens, lived here for many years, went back again, working there. They reached out to me. Just a quick background, I lived in the Middle East for many years as well, so I have a lot of people over there who talk about me. Probably I'm doing something right, so people talk about me over there as well, and that's how this client came across my contact and reached out to me and say, hey, we are planning to come back here. However, at this moment, we are working in the Middle East and we do not have anything, you know, to show in Canada, but we want to start a business. Our kids are growing and they're going to university and they want to come to Canada and study here, and eventually we will join them. For them, when they reached out to certain institutions, it was harder for them because there was no income here and they have everything going on in the Middle East. That's when, you know, I came in their life and tried to understand their needs and you know, went through their finances and everything. And before they arrived, I was able to not only secure them finances in Canada to purchase a property, but also managed to introduce to some of my colleagues in BNI, where they were able to talk to them and get just like a business broker who could help them find a business that was suiting them, because they were into business, they were doing business in the Middle East, and they wanted to bring that here as well. And that's where, it was very helpful, where, we could help them, guide them, and build that relationship, because that was more important. It did not happen overnight. It took time. It took pretty good time, and there were a lot of communications, time difference. I used to be going on the call at 11 at night to talk to them and understand their need. But eventually it happened that we planned their things in a way that they could not only buy a house here, but also they were able to start a business here by getting those financing using their income from the Middle East. So there are a lot of people who are planning to come to this country, migrating here, starting. People probably worked all their life, but when they come here, especially after 40, they always look at starting a business. And this is very common. And since we are sitting in a hub, Mississauga being, I always call it mini Middle East, there are a lot of people in this part of Mississauga where people move here and they start business, and I help them. This is one of the examples I can share. There are many, but I would say this was one success story of mine from Middle East.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing that. I think you're keeping the entrepreneurship intent alive. The dream, the passion that people look for. They immigrate to Canada and they want to start a business. They want to own a life here, start a new life. Thank you for what you do. Switching gears, I'm going from business to people, which is also a part of a key business. So Julie, you're an HR fractional consultant. You work with founders, you work with entrepreneurs, you work with people who are looking for that break into employment, and also expertise on to be able to manage, because it's hard being a solopreneur. I don't know, how many of you are solopreneurs here? Like just, oh, yeah. So kudos to you, because I know it's hard. So with that thing, Julie, question to you is, can you share an example of a situation where you were able to help a client successfully navigate HR challenges? I know on the surface it looks easy, but I'm pretty sure you're going to tell us that it is not. So we are all ears to what you have to say, please.
Thank you. So I worked in a business that had an average age of 57 years old. The management average age was quite high, and they were starting to, look at this and say, we need to start to look at succession planning. So we needed to find a strategy to prepare for the future, because eventually they would be retiring, and that would leave the business without leadership or with not enough leadership. So to support that strategic goal, we worked on creating a program which identified potential high potential leaders, and we offered them some training, resources, and a mentor. So providing a mentor from within the business to bring up those employees and prepare them for potential promotions into the business. Yes, that might be a bigger business than most of the people in this room. However, this technique can be applied to small businesses as well. So looking at people within the business that have the potential to become future leaders, and give them tools, offer them some growth, prepare development plans, and what are the competencies they need that they don't have yet to be the future leaders, and help them grow into that role. So that program was quite successful, where all the participants were promoted within 2 years of being in that program. So it's not something that happens overnight, but you can find succession and prepare for the future. So just to confirm, it's also, people will go where they can grow. And by investing in your people and growing them, they'll stay and they'll be engaged. And that's also maybe also part for the next question of keeping your employees engaged and motivated. So we'll talk further on that.
Of course, we will talk on that. And thank you for sharing that. Succession planning is underrated again. I know I'm using the word underrated a lot, but I think today we're going to discuss a lot of underrated things because it is important that you should know all of those. I have a segue on that. During my MBA, we did this family business case competition in Vermont. There's a family business institute, which I had no clue existed, where they talked about problems, family-owned businesses or businesses where there is no one to take care of. And they used to either sell it off, throw it off, or to your point, they had no clue how to manage the taxes. And they used to be in a bad position than before. So thank you for doing that, Julie. I'm coming back to you, Deep, because financing is important. I'll come back to you, Manu, because I have a follow-up there. But Deep, you provide financing solutions. And I don't think there's any business here who does not want financing. I don't know, who does not want money? Who does not want loans? Who does not want finance? See, true. So who, no, I was very clear because I know who wants, no. So Deep, to you, can you share an example where you were able to help clients with non-traditional sources of financing? And that could be across non-traditional sectors as well. I know there's the traditional sectors, but it's just kind of trying to understand, we're able to help a client, what happened, how we're able to help.
Sure. Like, I think if I remember, I had a client, again, a year back where during pandemic, he lost his business completely. He was into logistics and trucking business and he lost his business completely. And again, a year back, he was introduced to me. And when he came to me, the first thing he said that, I want to help somebody. And the moment he said that, it was just a no-brainer for me that I want to help this person as well. Because it's very important in today's time, we all reach out different places, different people to ask help for ourselves, how we can, but very few people think of. And when he told me his whole story, lost his business, doesn't have anything, his CRA is haunting him, but still he wants to help people. He wanted to bring a family from Ukraine here. He needed a certain amount of money and he was a business owner. He was not working. So when I went back and looked at his profile and his financials and everything, there was no way he could get that help. And that's when many of you must have heard about something called reverse mortgage. And that's where he took advantage. I explained him, it was first time for him. He never heard about that. I had took time again to explain him the benefits of it and how we can achieve that goal.